Well, welcome everyone to today's CALPADS Q A. My name is Gary Gerwer. I'm one of the data analysts, and I'll be hosting today. Paul Higgins will be driving the documentation for us. So if we come across questions where we might need to look at some documentation, you'll be able to look at your screen, and we will be able to see some of the written dialogue. Hopefully, everyone who are aware that end of year ended last week, and it was excellent. Everyone, we did all the LAs did very well. We had, I think, 99.99% of the LAs completed by the deadline. So awesome job, everyone. Fall 1 will be ramping up here pretty soon. As you know, it starts on Census Day, but you don't have to wait until Census Day to upload your files. And I know a lot of you are already uploading data, SNR data, student information data, things like that. So go ahead and continue to do that. That way, once fall 1 starts, you'll be able to get going right away. Oh yeah, so what Paul has on the screen right now is the calendar. So it's showing the 23-24, the fall 1 kickoff there October 4th, and the deadline is December 15th, 2023. And there will be an amendment window. So what we want is everyone to be done by December 15th. And then if you have any corrections to make, you'll have December 16th through January 26th as the absolute final deadline to make any of those corrections. And fall 2 starts at the same time with the final deadline for fall 2 with no amendment window of March 1st, 2024. And other than that, I don't have any announcements. Martha, did you have any announcements that you wanted to
I do not have any announcements other than, congratulations, as Gary said, and thank you very much.
And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. All righty, so I will start at the top with Q1 from Jean. Please clarify the new affirming process for the initial where parent has not agreement with the proposed offer of FAPE. Thank you. Joe, are you online today?
Yeah, I'm here, Gary. Thank you. Gene, I believe you're talking about obviously for this new SPED redesign, how to kind of go about it. I would suggest to actually defer this question actually to your SEDS or your special education data system vendor to precisely answer specifics such as how to affirm or how does the affirming process goes by. We do actually have some SPED roadshows that are actually scheduled. I believe that you're obviously working with special education, so that would be a great source where you could actually ask these types of questions as well. Earlier we had one with Sonoma. So I'll send a link where those SPED road shows are available, and these are specifically tailored for obviously for our special ed users. So we would like to be mindful about people participating because it's only like a small venue, obviously, right? So I'll send the link, Gene, so that you could actually see if you could attend one of those specifically tailored for the SPED redesign. And Brandy is hosting that, by the way.
Thanks, Joe. And for everyone in the meeting, that's Joe Tan. He's from the CD SPED office.
Right. Oh, in addition to, I believe that, let's say, your SED systems such as SACE, Cyrus, they're also conducting their own training, by the way. So please do coordinate with them as well.
All right. Gene, I see you have a Q2. We'll circle back to that one. As a question 1, Q1. I'm attempting to upload an SCR file, but it continues to fail and shows 0 errors. I can't seem to find anything wrong with the file. Might I be doing something incorrectly? Yvette, might be better if you put a ticket in for that. You can put my name in the heading if you want. I can take a look at that. Usually what I do is I'll take that file and if it's in an Excel format, I'll put it in text format or vice versa to try to find anything. But usually when it fails without any errors, there's something wrong with the file itself. Like if it's an Excel file, there might be hidden characters or something. and that's causing it to file. And unfortunately, it confuses CALPADS. That's why you don't even get an error message. But I'm pretty good, or we're all, actually, I shouldn't just say me, but we're all pretty good at finding something in the file that might be causing that problem by taking a deeper looking at it. But it's not something that we can do here in the Q&A, but do put a ticket in and we can further research that. Question 1 from Kareem. I have an ERD with the subsequent enrollment to the California Connections Academy, which is an online public school. I've tried the T160 and the T167, but I still get an ERD. What would the proper exit code to use? What would be the proper exit code to use?
What kind of ERD is it?
Yeah, because there's several different flavors of ERDs. I would think as long as, yeah, we'd have to, we may have to look this student up as well to get the right answer for you. Question 1 from Russell. If we have a few students that are going to an online vendor who handles the grades and instruction, what state course code would we put in for the course, or do we not need to report that?
Are they receiving credit? And what curriculum is being taught?
So a little more information on that one. Q1 from Loretta. I am using the Resolve Mid Not on Report tool, and I receive a validation error that the process failed because one of the SSIDs does not belong to your LEA. Do I have to enroll that SSID temporarily in order to combine the two numbers? We discovered an SSID under a previous name for a student that enrolled with us from out of state and since has a legal name change. The SSID is from a preschool in another county.
Well, Kyron responded, he says ownership, but you definitely need the focus ID. And typically that comes when you have a current enrollment or the most recent enrollment. So if you're trying to enroll the student, I would enroll them first and then combine the mid, similar to the process that has started since the post redesign. If the student has been previously enrolled and you've exited the student, if you don't have the most recent enrollment, which would be the source of the prevention, send an email to the owner, the person, the student's record that has the LEA that has the most recent enrollment, and inform them of this mid, because perhaps they're unaware of it.
Thanks, Nate. Lydia has a Q1. When will CALPADS Fall 1 open? And we showed the calendar, but basically you could put Fall 1 files in anytime. It officially opens on Census Day, which is the first Wednesday in October. Q1 from Dana. How do I report a home hospitals teachers sections? Teachers is full-time at one school, but acting as home hospital teacher at another school for one student. Do I report a SAS or a course enrollment record for them, even though they are not really employed by the school? Well, let's see, you can, if it's a different school, you can put in dual, more than one teacher assignment at a different school. You can only put one teacher assignment in. Right.
I agree with you. I think they have to report the SAS and the course because that student is not going to be allowed not to be enrolled. And so the course is going to require that teacher to be at that school of enrollment. So you're going to have to submit a SAS record showing that the teacher is working at that specific school. If you remember, the staff assignment is by school and by job classification. So teacher needs a SAS and a course at that school so you can submit the SESE record for the student.
Sometimes don't they have staff at the district office that serve the home and hospital kids?
They may, but
But
She
you will need
says
to
the
enroll
teachers-
the student at the district too, Martha, to
Oh,
meet
okay.
that compliance. So if so they can just assign it to the school instead.
Thanks, guys. Okay, Q1 from Claudia. Is the new TK grade level only for students who are eligible for TK or also for students who are participating in TK, even though they are older than the TK age range? There was a flash, I can't remember which one, that had the dates for the TK age ranges by which, and it changes every year.
So
Is it
you may be
228?
referring to the second year of their kinder level. So they should probably be KN now if they're on their second year.
No, I think what we're talking about here is the early TKs. You know, the students that are permitted to go, even though they may not generate ADA. And I don't see why that would change. I think if they're enrolled in a TK course, they'll be TK. We've always calculated for LCFF and other things, the age of the student, not necessarily the grade level. So I don't think that changes. I think if they're enrolled in a TK class, even though they're outside the, the state ranges, they should be TK.
And Paul has this on the screen, the flash, I think it's 257.
So 228 where it was first announced. So between 228 and 257.
Yeah,
It gives you the date range that we accept.
Thank you. Okay, Q1 from Catherine. I'm receiving an error message for my SCNR updates concerning GER 007, code submitted outside the effective date range error. 22-23 TK student, enrollment exit date 6/8/2023, end of year exit as a no-show with a 160 at the beginning of 23-24. The student has enrolled in a new school as of 8/21/23, grade level code TK. Sounds like with that error, TKs are good starting July 1st, 2023-24, but it sounds like with that error, there might be the wrong date range being used, the wrong date being used, maybe pre-2023 somewhere. We might need to get a ticket on that so we can see the data that's being uploaded that's giving you that error. And Robin has a comment there asking if you're an Aries user, and there's some information there. So thanks, Robin. Question from Jerry. Hi, Gary. I have a question regarding this recent letter from the CDE regarding a new pathway to a high school diploma for student with disabilities. Do you know if there are any plans to create a new CALPADS exit code for this? I'm not aware of this, I don't think.
So Nate, do you have that the CR in front of you at all from yesterday?
I'm sorry. I was looking at the TK GER 7.
The CR that has to do with the pathway for high school diploma for students with disability. It was in an email I sent you yesterday. Can you access it easily, or do I need to find it?
I think Paul has it on the screen.
That's our latest guidance for the federal bill language regarding alternate diploma.
But it doesn't say if we're issuing a new exit code, and I thought the CR might have said something in it.
I believe go ahead.
Hi, Martha. This is Meredith. We do have a new
Meredith,
completion status code 102 is the pathway to a high school diploma. So when we do the year-end rollover, you should see that new code, completion status code 102.
Awesome.
Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, there are some changes to the valid code combos that will limit it to certain grade levels in the year that they exit. So it's not universally available for everybody, but you have to be a certain grade level and academic year to use it.
And so that happens on September 19th when we do rollover, that it becomes
the plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great, thanks. Okay, Q1 from Larney. Is the 3.10 report for end of year one, ever been available to open, view, or download. I've never been able to do so before the deadline, during the deadline, and still not after the deadline. Loading just spins and eventually will time out. Is this report still available? I believe it is. I don't know that we have a known issue on the 310. But if you haven't already, put a ticket in and we can investigate why it might not be working for you.
But there is a supporting extract. And so oftentimes when we find some reports that are hard to open, we turn them into supporting extracts. The detailed anyway tend to be the ones that often take a long time to render. And so we've created these supporting extracts that you can use in lieu of the actual report learning. We don't have supporting extracts for all of the reports, but for the ones that you guys tend to need the most and have the most difficulty in rendering.
And
Yeah,
Paul's
under
showing us the extracts on the screen there, and there's the supporting report extracts, and it has all of them. So if you're having a problem with the regular report, as Martha said, you can come here and there may be a extract that you can get this way instead.
EOY 1, 310 is there.
Yep, right there. So that might be an option for you. Key one from Yolanda, the ELAS status is not showing in TOMS. Dina from SA TOMS states the student's primary language and ELAS field in TOMS are blank. This is the reason that no tests are available. This means the information is not reaching TOMS from the CALPADS file. I would recommend that a manual update be triggered for the student file from CALPADS to TOMS. If you need assistance, please reach out to the CALPADS help desk. Martha, I'm not sure if there's something going on because we had a couple tickets today where it doesn't seem like the TOMS data is getting over to TOMS from CALPADS or vice versa. And I forwarded those up to Thor at the CDE.
Is anybody from CDE on?
He is actually on. He says, please send in the ticket. So I'm not sure if there's an issue going on with TOMS right now, but it's been mentioned a few times today. Question 1 from Charlene. When are we expected to use the 3-digit language code? I believe that's coming for fall 1.
It's the rollover, September 19th, when we transition from the old school year to the new school year. We had to wait for EOI to finish and then part of our release schedule. So it's scheduled for the 19th of September after the release goes in that morning.
And Robin said the same thing. Thanks, Robin, for replying to some of these questions. Question 1 from Sue-Ann. When will the CDD errors be available year-round rather than just showing up during report periods?
You hung on me, Gary. Oh, it's me.
Oh.
My internet's going out.
Uh-oh, no.
I'll go to the landline.
Yeah, so the CDD errors will be available year-round. I think that's also coming soon.
After we finish UAT, we'll know more.
Okay. Question 1 from Kareem continued. It's a warning type C for the ERD. Should I post the SSID? Warning type C. I don't remember what that is off the top of my head.
Lost transfer.
Oh, so just
potential dropout.
So it's probably a date range issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you use a code, a transfer code, anything that starts with a T160, a T167, and the student shows an enrollment, a subsequent enrollment, that subsequent enrollment would need to be prior to the census date. So if the student, missed, was unenrolled from April to November, just missing that census date is going to include them as an ERD type C. if you send a ticket in and with this, screenshot, blocking out the student's data or the SSID, we can tell you exactly why the ERD is triggering.
Thanks, Nate. Laura, if a student was new to us in kindergarten and became immigrant status, then left for a foreign country after 3 years and then returns back to us in 9th grade, are they an immigrant Title III again? I think that they can
Get a ticket on that.
Yeah. Yeah, we may have to get additional information. Question 1 from Rebecca. When will CALPADS begin collecting data for students graduating under the exemption per Senate Bill 532?
I think that's this year, right, Meredith? We changed the SCNR file format to have that field, yeah?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
When will CALPADS begin collecting data for students graduating under the exemption per SB 532?
Yeah, I believe it's this year that we'll have the indicator when we do the year-end rollover.
Great.
On the SNAR file.
Question 1 from Teresa. Please, whoops, my screen just popped up. Please clarify that the new pathway to high school diploma applies first to graduates of 2026 and later, students who entered high school in the 22-23 year. Anybody?
That's what the email said, or the webpage says, but again, we're finding out about it as we go along too. It's
Meredith may be able to speak to it. I think there's a condition on there that you have to be a 9th grade in the 22-23 year. So depending on what grade you would be in, like in 10th grade, I don't know.
Yeah, for the pathway alternative.
Yes.
Yeah, so the language said that they have to be 9th grade in the 22-23 school year. So we will have validations in place. You won't be able to use that code if you're 9th grade, even in the 23-24. You're only allowed to use it if you're in 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then in the appropriate year. So if you're grade 12, I believe you have to be in the 25-26 year when you graduate. For grade 11 in the 24-25. And so on and so forth. So grade 10, they could use it if for some reason they graduate early in the 23-24 school year.
Awesome. Okay. Doug Hawkins has a comment at 3:20 for the 3.10 for some folks will time out for the XLS version, I guess XL version for some folks. And he has found a high rate of success when requesting the CSV or PDF version. So it might be something to try. Or use the extract. Question 1 from Asha. When does the below information need to be finalized in the student information system for Fall 2 submission to the state? Does it need to be finalized in the student information system by Census Day? Education service, instructional strategy, student distance, study distance, middle school, high quality CTE. No, I'm not, well, it doesn't need to be finalized. Well, I don't know about the student information system, but in CALPADS, it just needs to be done before the Fall 2 ends.
So ideally, Asia, you want to have all the fields populated correctly prior to you submitting data to CALPADS. So there is not a specific deadline like Gary said, but we would advise you to be able to start your Fall 2 submissions this side of the winter holidays. So, I think it would be great, those LEAs that were successful last year with Fall 2, because it's a short window, started their CALPADS submission in November. I'm sorry. So I would suggest if you can target November, you'd be in a good position.
Thanks,
but I think
Nate.
Robin Wall has a good point though too. It's Fall 2. It's a point in time. So we look for data that was active on census day. So let's say it's, end of October and you're finally getting around to populating that information in the SIS. So long as it was active on census day, when you pull the data out, we will count it. So we look to see who was enrolled on census day and what kind of courses were they in and what were the attributes of those courses when they were enrolled on census day. They may still be enrolled in October and November, and that's when you're pulling the data, but we look to see the activity as of census day. So it can be confusing in that regard.
Okay, question 1 from Brooke. I have a TK student who is 4 years old with a date of birth of 2/19/2019. I'm getting the SCNR 622 invalid transitional student age. It states on the error that TK grade level should only be used when the student is age 4 by September 1st in the current academic year and 8 years old inclusive. The school is an invalid school for a non-AD enrollment status of 50. My question is, would this student be reported in CALPADS or not? I have read all the flashes and age requirements and want to make sure I'm understanding it all correctly. The school's an invalid school for a non-AD enrollment status of 50.
So usually 622 is because of the age of the kid, not that you have an invalid school. We may need to get a ticket on this.
I tried it both ways, and that's why I got the first way was the SNR error, and then I tried it with the non-ADA, and I got the invalid school for it.
So I think we need to see the ticket to see what your start date is for the kid, and then verify the date of birth that's on the SIM,
Okay.
etc. So thank you, Brooke.
Okay. Okay. I believe that's all the Q1s. There's a lot of responses to some of the previous Q1s from other folks that are answering. So those
How
are
about
always
311, Gary? Do you have one from Yolanda at 311? Oh no, that's a repeat. Thor answered it. That's why it's in my list.
So a lot of people are responding to the Q1s, and we really appreciate that. I'm going to go back and get to the Q2s here. So at the top at 301, Jean had a Q2. How are the disability 1 and 2 degree of support being used in CALPADS? Any guidance as what to determine the disability is mild to moderate support needs or an extensive supports needs, i.e. general ed participation, etc. So how are the disability 1 and 2 degree of support being used in CALPADS? Joe?
So Gary, so FYI, we're gonna have further guidance in regards to this specifically to be more comprehensive about this. Secondly, this is optional for the coming year, so the current year that we're gonna be collecting. Those roadshows, by the way, Jean, as I mentioned to you, they'll mention about more specific information about this as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, Q2 at 302 from Kareem. Could you explain what the assessment user role gives access to? I'm not too familiar with assessments in CALPADS. Do we have assessments anymore?
The assessments, I think, got shut off, didn't it? Because it used to have the old CELT in it and nothing else.
Right.
Yep. Turned off.
That role's no longer necessary. Okay, 314 Q2 from Dana. Is it required to fill in the online instruction course type, or is that only for distance learning during COVID times? Our continuation school uses online curriculum programs that are learner-led, and we're not sure that this is necessary or optional to report or not? Yeah, you can still use the online instruction course type along with, they can be, an online course can be distance learning as well, or it can be online while you're at the school. Okay, Q2 all the way down at the bottom at 334 from Rebecca. To clarify, would we need to be able to submit the school completion code for the alternate high school diploma until 25-26, maybe 24-25 at the earliest? Is this correct? The law states that the IEP team would make the determination and notify parents or guardians of their students' new pathway preceding their 10th grade year, and the law went into effect last year. Just want to confirm my understanding. Thank you. Anyone?
Would it not be later if the students couldn't, wasn't it 23, 24? They had to be in their 9th grade year?
I thought it was 22, 20, or 23, 24.
Yeah, so the 9th grade, 22, 23. So that would be 23, 24 for 10th, 24, 25 for 11th, and then 25, 26 for 12th grade. And the reason we do allow it for grades other than 12 on the very, very rare circumstance that a student does graduate early under the alternate diploma, but very unlikely that that would happen. So we would expect really for the majority of students, the first year would be grade 12, 25, 26 school year.
Okay. Q1, I think it's Q1 from Anne. When are we going to have more information for the 22, I'm sorry, for the 23-24 CBEDS requirements, specifically regarding the new transportation information that we'll be asked to report? CBEDS requirements?
Yeah, there's still that system.
Would we know
Got to
the
send
answer
in
to
a
that?
ticket because I think the folks from CDE that could answer that are not here. CBEDS Aura is what it's called.
Oh,
and
right.
that's for those items that you can't submit in CALPADS, like total number of classified staff, how many, what your graduation requirements are, et cetera.
Q1 from Eric. Sorry, I joined late. Can you go over the info about SPED meetings or roadshows? No, Brandy's out there on the road right now doing roadshows, quite a few of them. I'm not sure how many are left. Not sure if we have something that we can show on screen what the schedule is.
I sent the link earlier, Gary,
to
Gene.
Thanks.
However, we would like to, make you guys aware that that's a limited capacity, and we would like to obviously, make space for our, special education.
Oh, they're there.
Right.
Thanks, Kyron.
Thank you.
But also, you mentioned, Joe, that the SEDS vendors are also doing their own training, and you should pay attention to, like if you're SACE or Cyrus and whoever, if they're doing training, you also want to attend their specific SEDS training.
Correct. That's exactly correct.
Which CDE doesn't post their training. They just post the training that they're going to give.
Mm-hmm. So the one on screen, thank you very much. Nice. Would show you the leftover schedules as well, right down below if you scroll down. So tomorrow there's one in Contra Costa, but it's rather limited in capacity, as you can tell. So please be mindful to, give way to your special education, users, participants, staff.
At 3:37, Eric has a Q2. Can you go over the info and dates on the new SPED certification and high school diploma? Sure. SPED certification, is that what you're talking about, the SPED redesign? And that's coming in September 19th. And the high school diploma is what we were talking about earlier. There was that email that went out. Not sure what else to say about that. Q2 from Laura. Do you know if the CALPADS regional update meetings will be virtual or in person?
Virtual.
Virtual. Yeah, and Kyron wrote, these are virtual.
Now I do, when we say virtual, one of the goals of having the regional meetings is that perhaps your county office would host the area districts to come to the county. And so you can be from there, one room, and you're connecting on the Zoom meeting, but you're in person with all your other districts in the county. So you have to check with your county if they're sponsoring anything like that. But we are hosting it as a Zoom meeting, but that doesn't mean you can't meet locally at your county office so that you can do networking in the region with folks.
Question 1 from Rachel. We accidentally tested a student with incorrect TBD language. The student was labeled as EL with the incorrect language. I'm unable to correct this on the CALPAD side. Any guidance on how to correct this error? Thank you. And Thor responded, please send it a ticket, include information. And Kyron also put in a link to some guidance for that. Question 2 from Anne. Are we going to need to change the way we do things as a result of the SPED file redesign? Yeah, I think that's part of the roadshows that Randy's doing. There's a lot of changes.
So I think it's a two-parter. Definitely it's going to change inside of CALPADS because you're going to have 4 files instead of the 2 files. But also you have to work with your special education vendor, because a lot of the elements are the same and the screens are the same, but you got to work with them for them to help you understand what is different about the redesign and how you do things now and that in special education data system.
Perfectly said there, Martha, just to emphasize that, yeah, there are changes. However, you want to coordinate with your SED system, in order to see what are going to be changes, because a lot of the changes might actually happen on the background. And, as you know, with in terms of submitting your SPED related files, they're submitted via your API or through your application, SED's vendor's application. So please coordinate with them. I believe there's a couple of links that were posted here in the chat lines right now that actually provides the link to those trainings, or please consult with your SED's vendor again. Thank you.
So, and we're not doing specific training to the regular data coordinators. It's, it's you as a data coordinator, it's healthy to know what's going on in the special education realm, because we need the data coordinator, the SIS data coordinator, to work closely with the SPED coordinator. And so just kind of understanding high level stuff, what's going on their end. But the special education data coordinators are really impacted by this change. The reports are renumbered, but they're still kind of the similar reports. Elements are coming from different files.
At 3:39, Eric is kind of clarifying the new special education code for the high school diploma. And I think
which is what Meredith has been covering, right?
Yeah. That's something that will be coming with the SPED redesign.
No, on August 19th, September 19th,
September
the
19th.
rollover, that completion
get
code
this.
status, right? It's a completion code. There's two different things happening.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So the SNER, on the SNER file, you can do the graduate alternative indicator for those graduates that are meeting the local or the state requirements, but maybe not necessarily local requirements. And then the school completion status code of 102 is to be used for students with disabilities who are on that alternate pathway diploma. And that can be used for students that were in ninth grade in the 22-23 year. So it'll be used when they do leave school and they've exited with that diploma. Most likely those students, it won't have that completion code until the 25-26 school year, but it can happen a little bit sooner depending on the specific grade level.
Thanks,
So
Meredith.
it's a new code, not a new field.
Correct. So 102, it's a new completion status code.
Yeah.
And it can be
Thank
paired
you,
only
Meredith.
with the exit reason of E230.
Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah.
Question one from Fabiola. Do you know if CDE is considering reporting classified staff through CALPADS? If so, do you know when? I
Not
don't
at
believe
this
so.
time. Yeah, not at this time.
Question two from Teresa. Am I correct in waiting to upload our first full SENR for the full year until known issues 6654 is cleared? Aries recommended that I do wait so that I do not create unnecessary mids. Will this hopefully be completed by next Tuesday's release? 6654 was the SNR ODS extract is not complete, is not getting the complete list of SSIDs for the date range. It does say fix available, so I'm going to assume that that means it will be in the next release. But we don't have Angela here today to confirm that. Question one from Anna. Our independent study school has hired several SPED teachers, contractors for services such as school psychology and counseling, physical therapy, speech, behavior intervention, and behavior intervention. Should I report them on the CALPADS, SAS, and course enrollment files? I believe so. Question two from Charlene. How about the 4 new SPED files? Is there a particular order to submit them? I think they can be submitted. There's no specific order to submit them.
Correct. There's no validations ensuring that there's a specific order. However, there will be some DD, CDD errors that will trigger if not all of the records are present when they should be. For example, if you have a plan record, but you don't have a services record associated with that, you would trigger an error.
So no particular order, just get them all up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gary, the 6654, it went in already.
Oh, okay.
Should have been in there as of Tuesday. So
Yesterday. Okay. So
yeah.
so you should be okay to upload your or
And
get the extract.
double check it, you know. Yeah. But because we haven't updated the tickets yet to for people that were linked to it to say that it was taken care of, but it went in yesterday's release.
Okay. My screen is. I guess this is the time for a little humor from Sue Ann. What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, you idiot. Sure, I understand that. He forgot and turned into a raisin from Terry. Oh, I get it. The green grape turned purple. Okay. Thanks, Sue Ann. I think that's all the questions. It's 3:50, so if there's any more questions, go ahead and put those in now. Well, if no more questions, we'll give you guys 10 minutes back. I'd like to thank all the help I got today. I really appreciate it. Thanks Meredith for helping us out today. I'm glad you were online. It worked out.
Good.
And we will call it 10 minutes early. So we will be back again next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Have a nice 3-day weekend, folks.
Bye.